These are 5 predictions I have for 2018. Now, this used to be an old habit of mine. Every year I'd make a bunch of predictions, write them on my blog. There's a link down below if you want to go and read those from years past. This year I thought it would be fun to make a little video expanding a little bit more on each of the points on my predictions for this year. So here we go. Prediction number 1. Higher prices are going to have a negative effect on quality. Now this probably seems a little bit confusing, and there is a precedent for this. A few years ago, back when the C market price, the commodity price, the kind of globally traded price for coffee, that spiked to above $3. And in lots of parts of the world, that actually had a big effect on quality. It meant that producers didn't have to work as hard to get a kind of premium for their coffee. That meant that people were delivering less ripe stuff, sorting worse, and in certain parts of the world it meant that the quality dropped because prices were good. How does that relate to specialty? Right now, there are a lot of specialty coffee roasters out there in the world trying to buy good coffee, and their requirements for it are going to be that it's traceable, that it's of good seed stock, that's probably a good variety of Arabica, that it's grown at good altitude, and ideally that it tastes pretty good. But it's a very competitive market. Right now, it's a seller's market. The power, for once, lies a little bit more with the seller. And rightly so, they should make as much money as possible right now. Out there, it probably means there are enough buyers who are willing to take a small drop in quality, as long as the coffee still fits all the traceability requirements, it's still the right altitude, still the right variety, but the quality not quite as good as it was, and still pay for that in order to secure coffee at a kind of steady fixed price for their business. Because right now it's incredibly competitive out there in specialty. As a result, I think we'll start to see more and more coffee hitting the market that's pretty well grown, but not desperately well sorted necessarily. Like reasonably sorted, but not exquisitely sorted, not really beautifully sorted the same way that we've come to expect in recent years, where working a little bit harder certainly did produce a bit more of a premium. Now, you don't have to work quite as hard to hit that premium, and I think that effect is going to be seen in the quality of coffee being bought and sold by specialty coffee roasters. Prediction number 2 is that Amazon starts listing Whole Foods catalog on its site, and this causes some problems. I spoke a little bit about Amazon in a previous video, and right now I think the situation is going to be a little bit strange. Amazon bought Whole Foods and they won that demographic, but Amazon for a long time has wanted to do more and more and more in grocery and selling food to people alongside electronics and everything else. So for me, it's only a matter of time before Amazon starts to list Whole Foods catalog, all the products that Whole Foods sell, on Amazon.com. For a long time, being a supplier to Whole Foods as a coffee roaster was considered in the US a very good thing. They bought well, they pushed specialty coffee pretty hard, and they moved a lot of volume. So right now there are a bunch of roasters who currently sell to Whole Foods but wouldn't necessarily want to sell on Amazon.com. I'm not sure how much control they're going to have in the future. Secondly, if you do sell on Amazon.com right now, well, what happens when Whole Foods wants to list that same product? Who is Amazon going to funnel that order through? Are you going to start selling to a central distribution center and have Amazon do the last leg, or Whole Foods do the last leg, or are you just going to sell to Whole Foods and Amazon do all the fulfillment? I think there's a lot of questions to be answered, and I think it's going to cause some headaches in coffee and a bit of confusion and a little bit of stress. So Amazon, I think, is going to cause more and more issues in the world of coffee. Prediction number 3. This is the year that people start taking coffee grown in China a little bit more seriously. Now, China's been growing coffee for quite a long time, but it's kind of never really had the quality to make it an origin that you'd see offered by specialty roasters. Now, in recent years, there has been a drive for quality, and a lot of that drive has actually come from coffee roasters and coffee shops within China. In recent years, the best Chinese coffees I tasted were in China. I think they're growing a strong internal market for the coffee they produce, but some is now starting to be exported. And I said, there's a lot of competition out there for specialty roasters, and I think many of them are looking for an edge, looking for new origins, looking for new opportunities. And I think this is the year where we start to see Chinese grown coffee from Yunnan pop up more and more and more from specialty roasters around the world. and I think it's a pretty good thing. I think the quality is certainly coming up. I think a lot of people are still skeptical because the varieties they've grown there are pretty disease resistant, but rarely very delicious, and sort of more flavor driven varieties haven't ever done very well in China. But with the seed stock that they have, I think they're doing some really interesting stuff. So this year, look out for specialty coffee from China. Prediction number 4. I think in the UK, we're going to see some very quality focused, very reputable businesses disappear. When I say disappear, I should be clear that that might mean that they go bankrupt. It might mean that they just choose to stop trading. It may be that they're acquired and gotten rid of. I don't really know, but I think we are going to see some pretty big names disappear from the coffee map in 2018. The market right now is super tough, and I don't think anyone is obliged to keep trading if they're not enjoying what they're doing or if they're not making enough money for the business to feel sustainable. I don't have any insider information here. I don't know of anyone who's teetering on the edge, but I think we would be surprised if we knew at the start of the year who would have disappeared by the end of the year. Prediction number 5. I think this year is the year that Costa Coffee is going to make its move into specialty. Now, in the UK, Costa Coffee is considered probably the largest coffee-focused chain. There's over 1,000 Costa Coffees in the UK. It's bigger than Starbucks and it's bigger than Cafe Nero. Now, Starbucks have been pretty smart. They have decided to create their own sub-brand, and that's Starbucks Reserve. And they've got the resources and actually the people to build some incredible kind of temples to coffee. I think anyone who's been to the space in Seattle has been kind of blown away by the experience that they offer and the fact that the coffee is actually pretty good. They've opened some Reserve stores that haven't worked as well. I look at London's Reserve store as pretty much a failure. I don't know how they see it. But I think the store they've just opened in Shanghai, which is insane, is going to be a huge success for them. So I think it's going to become, for Starbucks, that's kind of more of a marquee event sort of space, experiential brand for them. In the UK, Cafe Nero tried to move a little bit into specialty. They bought a small chain of specialty-focused shops called Harris & Hoole that had been funded by supermarket giant Tesco as a JV with a chain here called Taylor Street Roasters, who are amongst the first movers of specialty in the UK. That acquisition, I don't think, worked out very well. I'm not sure if they'll do something different. I don't expect too much for them. But what we haven't seen to date is anything from Costa Coffee. This year, I think, will be the year they make a move, and that move could come in one of two things. They could choose to launch a specialty-focused brand, or they could choose to make an acquisition. And while I probably wouldn't choose to do the latter, I think they might. And in the UK, I think there are a number of companies who hope to be the chain that Costa buys. I think a fair few companies have raised money through things like equity crowdfunding. They've taken on money from people and promised them a return, possibly in the form of an exit, and this could be an ideal exit. I'm not going to say which one for sure Costa will do, but I think this year Costa will do something that moves them into specialty. They're seeing their market share shrink. They're definitely feeling the pressure just from the sheer number of independent businesses out there, and I think this is the year that they react. My prediction is that 2018 is the year Costa Coffee gets seriously into specialty. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for 2018, and this is the last video of 2017. Thank you so much for watching. Love to hear your thoughts. Leave me a comment down below. I always enjoy the discussion I have here. It seems weird. Who thought anyone would enjoy YouTube comments? But apparently, you leave some great comments, so thank you for that. Do subscribe if you want to. It would be great to see you again in 2018. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.